Hey guys, I'm here with the CEO and the co-founder of IOTEX. And I think it's almost customary on this channel to ask the co-founders to introduce their project. So Raullen Chai, can you introduce your project?
Hi everyone, this is Raullen from IOTEX. Hi Michael, thanks for having me actually. IOTEX is the next generation of IoT-oriented and privacy-centric blockchain platform focused on scalability, privacy, and the developability of the IoT applications and ecosystems. So IOTEX mission is connect the physical world block by block.
All right, so connecting the physical world block by block. And this is one of the questions that I have personally, which is why does IoT need a currency of its own?
Okay, so yeah, that's also makes us thinking about why do we need like a blockchain for IoT. So here's three things we were thinking about. First, IoT has been there for years, but there's no real killer application. And why? So first, there's no scalable infrastructure for medium to small size manufacturers, institutions, device makers. For example, for big players, Google, Amazon, they have their own team, own infrastructure, which is fine. But for like a small players, medium players, they really don't have this like a backend infrastructure to real unlock the value of IoT devices. So that's for one. And second is like the privacy, which is also a big concern because we're thinking about once like the IoT device has been deployed everywhere, then privacy really becomes a big concern for people using it because it's like monitoring the environment, monitoring people, monitoring your life every minute, every second. At that time, privacy will become a big concern. So we do think like by introducing blockchain into the IoT space, it could help solve these two problems. For example, blockchain itself is a decentralized ledger. It's a decentralized infrastructure which can be used by these devices, no matter who made them, right? Like even small or maybe small to medium-sized manufacturers or even some individuals who made the device. They can make use of blockchain. They can use the blockchain to coordinate with other devices. They can use the blockchain to make micropayment, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And also like a blockchain provides certain kinds of privacy, but not enough. So that's why IOTEX is adding another layer of privacy on top of the, for example, Bitcoin, Ethereum kind of blockchain to try to help this IoT application to grow and to be deployed everywhere.
Right. So you kind of see this as a support infrastructure for IoT. So now, what sort of IoT applications do you see making our lives better in the future? You know, we've heard about this IoT thing for a long time. Okay, so what is your vision for an IoT world in the future?
Yeah, of course. I think like internet is for people to use, and internet plus blockchain is basically for machine to use. Like in the future, you can think something like a machine economy, like machine they can talking with another machine autonomously without like a central party. So they can do this payment. They can coordinate together to finish some complicated tasks. I think like the future
Yeah,
world
what
will.
sort of tasks though? Like, what sort of tasks do you envision? Like, what would these machines be doing? Are
Oh,
we gonna build Skynet? Are they gonna run the world? Like.
yeah, Skynet, we're getting there. Wow.
Shit.
So for example, like if you have like a Tesla or maybe an autonomous vehicle, right? This car can just drive itself to maybe charging station to charge itself, or maybe drive itself to some service department to do the maintenance. Then maybe drive somebody home, drive somebody everywhere, then come back to the garage during the
Mm,
night.
mm.
Yeah, so that's one example.
So there's like
It-
kind of like autonomous economy and autonomous world
right,
that you're thinking of. All right,
right.
so IOTEX is trying to be some sort of the currency backbone for this. And in terms of technology, what sort of consensus mechanisms do you choose? How are you different from say Bitcoin or Ethereum, or even something like Monero if you're privacy based?
Right. So actually, IOTEX use a different variant of depots, which is very hot right now thanks to the EOS launch, which
Hmm.
is at the moment. So we use something called the role depots because we do think like a depots is kind of like too centralized, although it has a very good efficiency because you have like 21 nodes just governing everything in the network.
Hmm.
Instead, we have something called role depots. Actually, I will have a presentation about role depots in the coming weeks on a big conference. So the idea is we have like a large pool of candidates, and we use some cryptographic approach to select a very small group of delegates out of this pool and rely on this small group of people for like a several round of BP block production. Then we switch to another group, also is which is already in the pool as well for the maybe next N rounds of BP. So that way we want basically decentralize the depots to a certain degree.
Right, so it's delegated proof of stake where most of the majority are not block producers, but the block producers are not permanent. So in EOS, it's 21 block producers which are voted in and they kind of want to retain their position. But here, it's randomly selected from a pool. But I guess one of the issues here is what if you accidentally select malicious nodes? What if there are multiple malicious kind of actors in the space, and if they get selected in this random selection process?
Yeah, so first of all, like we just calculated the probability this afternoon actually with some other colleagues. So the probability is negligible, meaning it's very, very small. So say you want to select like say 7 malicious nodes out of 101 candidates, that's a very tiny bit probability. And even we select these 7 players, which are all malicious, like this blockchain can recover from attacks because like we are just rolling to another group of people for the next N rounds of BP. So even like the maybe current N round fails, we can switch to the next N round pretty quick. So that's basically give us some like a resilience to attacks like this.
Okay. All right. So, and also what percentage of say attackers would be needed to compromise the system then in that case?
Yeah, because we use BFT, actually PBFT, to get like a block finality. Of course, so I think 1/3 is the threshold we are concerned about. Meaning like if 1/3 of the players, let's say like this small group have 21 players, so 7 out of this 21 group players can basically stop others from reaching consensus. So basically you need to compromise 7 in that case.
Okay, so now why did you choose this? So you chose this mostly for speed, and is there any other advantages of choosing something like the DPoS but with random selection?
Yeah, like row depots. I think the root cause for row depots because we want to make depots more democratic. Like we don't want like this power to be like too central to just 21 nodes in this world, which could be right. Bad thing could happen in that case. So we want decentralized. We want actually keep the efficiency at the same time to be more decentralized than EOS in that case.
Okay. Right. Now we have an issue. You advertise privacy as well. So how do you achieve privacy for this system?
Okay, that's a good question. Actually, so before talking about privacy, I want talking about like the architecture of about IOTEX blockchain. So it's pretty much like there's like one root chain plus many side chains, right? Like a root chain just governs all the side chains, like when should provision side chains and when should like terminate their side chain. So for each of the side chain, they can be of different architecture. For example, maybe one side chain have like a MIMO like architecture, which gives them this privacy property on that sidechain. So that's the idea. Basically, the root chain is pretty simple, but different sidechains provide different property. Like maybe one sidechain can provide like privacy, another one maybe provide smart contract, so on and so forth. Yeah. Okay. So come back to privacy.
So it's almost like as if you have these sidechains as different modules. So you have like say a sidechain for smart contracts, a smart sidechain for privacy. But there might be an issue where if you want to do a private transaction, you can't. If you send it from a privacy to the main chain, it won't be private anymore. Is that true, or is that how are you designing that?
I think like all the privacy transactions should be within that sidechain, and once it comes out of the sidechain, it becomes something different, which means like there's no privacy. And also for this privacy sidechain, we want to make like super lightweight, thanks to the IoT properties, right? Which have a very limited power, battery, storage, everything. So that's why we want to make some lightweight privacy technology onto the sidechain. For example, like we have just designed a new stealth address. Stealth address is basically a concept from Monero, which means like if you want to send a token to someone, you want to hide the receiver from everyone else. But the original design of this stealth address is very heavyweight. Basically, like the receiver have to keep scanning the entire blockchain, all the transactions to find his transaction. So we designed like a new kind of stealth address, which is super lightweight for the receiver to use.
Okay.
we're keep doing research like that, trying to optimize the privacy to make it more lightweight and more usable.
Okay, so in terms of the progress of this new development, so what kind of technology are you using? Are you using ring signatures, bulletproofs, or what sort of technology are you using? And how far have you progressed in terms of the privacy development?
Yeah, to be honest, like our roadmap is look like this. For this year, for this quarter, we are going to really focus on the consensus, which is the role depots we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
For the next quarter, which is Q4 this year, we are going to focus really on the cross-chain communication, sidechain management.
Mm-hmm.
And for privacy, actually we kick off the research right now, but the real implementation of privacy sidechain will go to next year, probably Q1 or Q2. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Okay.
that's our roadmap.
Okay. So then, in terms of your roadmap, whilst we're on it, so what's the
Mhm.
current roadmap for the deployment of your chain right now?
Yeah, actually, we have this structure. Basically, we have testnet and mainnet, like everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But for testnet, we have three phases: preview, alpha, beta. Once beta is done, we're moving to mainnet, which also
Mm-hmm.
have preview, alpha, beta, and GA. GA means like everything's done, which will be like far down the road. So for now, like we finished the testnet preview on April this year, and we are going to release like a testnet alpha in this month,
Mm-hmm.
meaning right. And then in August, we are going to have a beta. And in October, we are going to have mainnet preview. Preview will be like keep it running, but maybe just running by us. And when we reach like the mainnet alpha, we are going to open the access to everyone.
Okay, so then the consensus mechanism will be public. Previously, it will be private to make sure that it's running
Right.
and it works. Got
Right.
it.
We want give us some time, maybe 1 2 months to like explore all the security vulnerabilities.
Hmm.
Yeah, just
Okay.
trying to make the system more robust.
Okay. So another question here in regards to the project is, I think there's going to be an obvious comparison between another very similar project, Iota, because well, the first two characters are the same, and they're also targeting IoT. So how would you compare IOTEX with Iota?
Um, I think they are both in the IoT space, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Apparently.
But like the two projects may have like a different visions, let's put it this way. So like our vision is more targeted about how can we provide this infrastructure to other IoT applications. While like my understanding of IOTA is more like focused on micropayment, zero transaction fees, like a super fast transaction,
Mhm.
things like that. So I think the focus is a little bit different.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have kind of more. So from what I'm hearing, you wanted more side chains and different capabilities there, right?
Right. And also, I feel like IoT is a really huge space. Like there must be like a multiple players in the space, right? Each one just explore different directions. Maybe they're like one of the team would be lucky enough to find like a holy grail uh, for this IoT and plus blockchain. So everyone is trying. That's good.
Gotcha. So in terms of the IoT space and solving solution, what's your background experience and how does that relate to building this project?
Yeah, that's a good question. A little bit about me. So actually, I did my PhD in U Waterloo back in 2008. That's where I did lots of research on cryptography, especially on the lightweight cryptography, because we're trying to make like a crypto primitive, like encryption authentication, really lightweight, so they can be used on IoT devices. For example, RFID tags, wireless sensors, very weak cell phones, so on and so forth. Then after that, forgot to mention, like our chief crypto officer, Xinxin, was doing the research with me in the same lab during that
Oh,
time.
right.
Yeah. So we were working together during that time. So actually, after graduation, I went to Google. I joined Google, and he joined Botch Research. So that's why my focus is more on the decentralized systems, because Google is just building this like large scale systems, while Xinxin is mostly focused on the research on blockchain and IoT. And then I joined Uber to lead a team there to do cryptography R&D. And until I met my two co-founders, Kevin and Jane. And Kevin is basically from Facebook, a very early employee from Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So he's through like all the tough times Facebook has went through. So he has a very strong mind and also very clever. And Jane is from a VC background. and he did lots of investment in various startups. So he witnessed lots of failure, lots of success. So she's just joining us with these very valuable devices, like how to do a startup, how to do it in a successful way, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we have like top-notch engineers from Facebook, from Google, from Intel. They are all joining us at a very early stage. Yeah, awesome. They are super cool. And also worth to mention, like Larry Pang is from a consulting background from Oliver Wyman, and he's leading like the BD part for us here in the California. And also we hired another lady which is doing BD in China.
Awesome. Okay. So we covered that. Let's talk about the token distribution. I think this has come under fire a lot because right now the token distribution, the circulating supply isn't that big. So, what's the current circulating supply and what's the release schedule like and why is it like this? Now I want to switch to a question about token allocation and token distribution. So one of the criticisms I've seen on the internet is that there is a low circulating supply for IOTEX. Can you talk to me about what the circulating supply is and why you chose the structure to be the way it is right now?
Yeah, circulating means like the percentage of token that is actually circulating in the secondary market, people can just buy and sell. So yeah, as of now, we have roughly 11% of token circulation in the secondary market. So we have this because we want to be innovative because we're doing this for IoT, which should be very different from blockchain Ethereum. Not only in technology, but also in terms of token structure. For example, we have like 24% of token for private sale, where we have many investors have a very strong IoT background, which could actually help us to grow as an IoT project. So that's why we want to have a long time investment period with them. That's why we have this like 1 year vesting plans for the private sale. The same philosophy for the ecosystem, because we want to engage some individuals, some device makers, and also we want to engage with some big name companies, IoT manufacturers, research institutions. So that's why we reserve this like 30% of a token for ecosystem to grow. So because the project is really at a starting point, so we don't need this march of tokens right now. So that's why we are vesting, actually unlocking this 30% of token in 3 years. We aim to have like a more partnership, more partners as we go down the road where we need more tokens to engage. So if you want to know more about the token distribution, just come to our website, iotex.io/FAQ. We have a very detailed token distribution calendar, so you can check the distribution over there.
So I definitely want to ask one question here, which is there's definitely people who are probably worried that there is a potential kind of influx of tokens once a certain vesting quarter is up. Can you do anything to resolve that or kind of alleviate the sell pressure when a certain vesting time period is up?
Yeah, actually, we designed this token release schedule based on the progress of the project, because we do aim like the project we have more impact on the real world as time goes by. That's where we're trying to release more tokens to the world to basically stabilize the price. We don't want to see the price to go up and down a lot, so we want to keep them like have a very stable growth from the ground up.
Awesome. Right. So now the question is, you talked about the foundation a lot, and I think this is something that's quite important in the future of developing a partnership. So what partnerships do you have on the roadmap? Can you talk about them? And what do you envision partnerships to be like in the future?
Right. So actually, we just onboard like 2 guys. It's not just I misspoke. We onboard like 2 guys, one a few months ago, one just now, focused on the BD side of the things, because we want to engage with IoT manufacturers, which are really new and have a very open mind to try different things. It's not any like IoT manufacturers. We're also trying to have some talks with some company. I'm not sure if I can disclose, but we're with some like companies doing share economy. Because those companies are relatively new, so those people are really young, have a very open mind, because it's easier for us to talk with.
Okay.
Yeah, and also there are some manufacturers, of course, in China, Shenzhen. There's a lot of manufacturers, IoT manufacturers. We have some. just stay tuned. We have some good news just down the road.
Awesome. So definitely something that I'll be interested in looking out. So Raullen, thank you so much for coming and spending your time for this interview. So of course, we're definitely interested in looking at your partnerships and pursuing that like kind of the IoT plus manufacturing route. So how can we find more about this project in the future?
Yeah, of course, you can. The first way you want to do is go to IOTEX.io, which has all the links to our Twitter, to our Telegram, to our like a Medium blog post, which has all sorts of information. Yeah, please do join us as a community contributor in any way. For example, we are looking for people who can contribute like content to us, who can write code for us, who can
Right.
like fix bugs for us, so on and so forth.
So I hope everyone can have the opportunity to check out the Medium and of course just read out on the project. Thank you so much for your time, Raullen.
Thank you so much.